They thought they were safe hundreds of miles away on their secret romantic getaway. My wife and my brother. But they forgot one thing. I planned family vacations for a living. So when they checked into their little paradise, I was already there, waiting, watching, and ready to give them a reunion they'd never forget. If you've ever trusted the wrong people, hit that like button because this story is for you. My name is Rowan Vale, and until a few months ago I thought I had everything figured out. I wasn't rich or famous, but I had something better: peace. My wife, Liana, and I had been together for 7 years. She was my calm in the chaos, the one who made coming home feel like an exhale after a long day. My younger brother, Evan, was my best friend, my shadow since childhood. We'd built our lives side by side. He started his own small business. I became a travel planner, crafting dream vacations for families. I used to joke that my job was to make people fall in love with life again. Funny how life loves its irony. It started small. Liana grew quieter during dinners. The smiles she used to save for me started landing somewhere else, at her phone screen to be exact. Evan began stopping by more often, helping her fix things around the house when I was out working late. I told myself I was being paranoid, that maybe I'd just been too busy, too tired. But the human heart knows when something's off. One night, I saw a message light up her phone. "Can't wait to see you again." My chest went hollow. I wanted to believe it was a friend, a cousin, anyone else, but my gut whispered the truth I wasn't ready to face. That night, sleep never came. Just silence and the slow death of trust that once felt unbreakable. After that night, everything looked the same, yet nothing felt the same. The mornings that once started with Liana's soft good morning turned into silent exchanges over coffee. Her phone never left her side anymore, not even when she showered. She'd laugh at messages I wasn't meant to see, smiles that didn't belong to me anymore. I tried to ask casually, pretending it didn't bother me, but her answers came to isolate or rehearsed. "Just work stuff," she'd say, without even looking up. Evan started acting strange too. He'd avoid eye contact whenever we were together. Conversations that used to flow easily now felt forced. He'd changed the topic when Liana's name came up. Once, I walked into my living room to find them standing too closely on his hand, brushing his arm, a little too familiar. They jumped apart like kids caught stealing candy. I smiled through it, pretending I didn't notice, but my mind was screaming. I started checking details, small things only a planner like me would catch: unexplained transactions on our joint account, 2 plane tickets booked under fake initials, the same resort I'd once told Liana I wanted to visit with her someday. That crushed me. My dream getaway, now their secret escape. I remember staring at the booking confirmation for a long time, my throat tight, heart sinking. That's when I knew. This wasn't suspicion anymore. It was confirmation. And the man I used to be died quietly in that moment. The night I found the proof, it wasn't by accident. I couldn't take the guessing anymore, it was eating me alive. Liana had gone to visit her cousin, and Evan had told me he was working late. I sat alone in the quiet, my hands trembling over my laptop, opening our shared cloud drive. I'd never snooped before, but something in me had already broken. Within minutes, the truth unfolded like a slow-motion car crash I couldn't look away from. There, they were photos of Liana and Evan at a hidden beachside restaurant, laughing like newlyweds. Her head resting on his shoulder, his hand tracing circles on her back. The timestamp matched the night she told me she was at her cousin's place. My stomach turned cold. Then came the final blow-in email confirmation for a romantic coastal retreat booked under her name. And his. The same resort I once mentioned as my dream family trip. They'd taken my wish and turned it into their getaway. I remember staring at their picture until my eyes blurred. Anger, heartbreak, humiliation, they all came crashing in waves. I wanted to scream, to break something, but instead I sat there, silent. A part of me still hoped it was some mistake, some twisted misunderstanding. But then I saw the message she'd sent him. "Can't wait to wake up next to you again." And just like that, the last piece of my old life burned away. When the truth finally settled, something strange happened. Didn't explode. I didn't shout, break things, or confront them. I just went quiet. It was the kind of calm that comes after a storm has already torn everything apart. I realized shouting wouldn't fix what was broken. But silence? Silence could destroy. I spent days pretending nothing had changed. I smiled when Liana talked about work trips, and I nodded when Evan mentioned being busy out of town. Inside, I was already building something. Not a confrontation. A performance. I wasn't going to expose them in anger. I was going to let them expose themselves in front of everyone they'd betrayed. Being a travel planner had its perks. I knew the resort they'd booked better than they did. So, I made a few quiet changes just at their reservation, added extra rooms, and sent a few special invitations to family members under the pretense of a surprise reunion. No one suspected a thing. Not even Liana, who kissed me goodbye that week with guilt hidden behind perfect eyes. I remember looking at her as she left, suitcase in hand, thinking, "You've already packed your truth in there too, haven't you?" I didn't stop her. I just whispered, "Have a great trip." She smiled, relieved that I didn't know. But she was wrong. I knew everything. And this time, I was the one planning the trip. Only this one wasn't for love. It was for closure. I reached the resort a full day before they did. The place was as breathtaking as I'd imagined, white sands stretching into an endless blue horizon. Palm trees whispering in the breeze, everything soaked in peace. It was supposed to be my dream getaway, the one I'd once planned for us. Now, it felt like a stage built for the truth. I checked into a quiet villa on the far end, close enough to see but far enough to stay unseen. Every part of me was trembling, not with fear, but control. I had rehearsed this moment in my mind over and over. When their taxi pulled up, I watched from a distance. There they were, Liana in a flowing dress, laughing as Evan reached for her hand. They looked happy. Disgustingly, painfully happy. I felt a strange calm settle over me again, like the eye of a hurricane. They didn't notice me. Of course they wouldn't. Betrayers rarely look behind them. I watched them check in, take selfies, order champagne. Every movement burned into my memory. I wanted to hate them, but all I could feel was numbness, the kind that comes when pain runs too deep to scream. As the sun dipped low, I saw them walk along the shore, her head resting on his shoulder. That image carved itself into my chest, but I smiled. Let them enjoy it. Tomorrow, their paradise would turn into a reckoning. Morning came dressed in sunlight and serenity, but beneath it, chaos waited quietly. I sat on the balcony of my villa, watching the waves curl and break, calm and predictably like what was about to unfold. The first message pinged on my phone. "We just arrived. Can't wait to see everyone." My parents. Right on time. Then my aunt, my cousins. One by one, all the special guests I'd invited for the surprise family reunion. I made sure their check-ins overlapped perfectly with Liana and Evan's breakfast. From my vantage point, I saw the exact moment Liana froze mid-bite as my mother walked in, smiling brightly. Evan's fork slipped from his hand, clattering against the plate. Confusion painted their faces, pure panic disguised as surprise. Rowan planned this, my mom said cheerfully, hugging them both before they could speak. Such a beautiful idea, bringing everyone together. I could almost hear their hearts drop into their stomachs. Every minute that followed was a performance of forced smiles and nervous laughter. My cousins were taking pictures, my parents chatting happily, while Liana's hands trembled on her coffee cup. Evan avoided eye contact, pretending to take calls that never came. From a corner seat, I watched it all unfold, the guilt, the discomfort, the tightening in their throats as the walls closed in. This wasn't rage anymore. This was justice unfolding in real time. And I wasn't even done yet. The real scene was still waiting for the night. That evening, the resort staff set up a long dinner table by the shore, soft golden lights, gentle waves, and laughter echoing through the warm air. To everyone else, it looked like a perfect family celebration. To me, it was a stage waiting for its final act. I sat at the head of the table, smiling, raising my glass as if everything were normal. Liana sat across from me, her smile brittle, her eyes darting toward Evan every few seconds. Evan couldn't sit still. He kept glancing at the ocean, at his plate, anywhere but at me. Halfway through dinner, I stood up for a toast. To family, I said, my voice steady. To trust, to loyalty, and to truth. The air shifted. I could feel it. Every eye was on me. Slowly, I pulled out my phone, tapped the screen, and placed it on the table. The faint sound of laughter and whispered words played through the speakers, Liana and Evan's voices. Recorded at the resort earlier that morning, the laughter around the table died instantly. My mother's eyes widened. My father's jaw clenched. Liana froze, color draining from her face. Evan reached out, stammering something, but before he could, my mother stood and slapped him across the cheek. The sound cracked through the night air. I looked at them both, calm, composed. You wanted a romantic getaway? I said softly. I just thought it should include the whole family. Then, I raised my glass and took a slow sip. For a moment, no one moved. The only sound was the ocean calm and mocking. Then, everything shattered at once. My aunt gasped. My father pushed his chair back so hard it toppled. Liana began to cry, reaching for me, her voice shaking. Rowan, please, I can explain. But her words drowned under the weight of my mother's voice. Explain what? She shouted, eyes filled with betrayal, not just for me, but for the family she thought she knew. Evan tried to stand, muttering something about a misunderstanding, but the guilt was written all over his face. His eyes darted around like a trapped animal, searching for an exit that didn't exist. My cousins stared in stunned silence, their dinner plates forgotten. Liana fell to her knees beside me, grabbing my hand. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, she sobbed. I still love you, Rowan. Her words hit harder than I expected, but they meant nothing now. I pulled my hand away gently, almost tenderly. Love doesn't look like lies, I said quietly. And family doesn't look like betrayal. Evan took a step forward, tears glistening in his eyes. I never meant to hurt you, brother. Met his gaze for the last time. You didn't hurt me, I said, my voice steady. You just freed me. Liana's cries echoed through the night as I walked away from the table, leaving behind broken glass, broken vows, and a family forever changed. Later that night, after the chaos had burned itself out, I heard a soft knock at my villa door. I didn't have to ask who it was. Liana stood there, eyes red, makeup streaked down her face, her voice trembling. Please, Rowan. Just talk to me, please. For a moment, I just stared at her, the woman I once trusted more than anyone, now standing like a stranger on my doorstep. I stepped aside and let her in, not out of mercy, but closure. She started talking immediately, her words tumbling out in desperate waves. It wasn't planned. It just happened. You were always busy, always working. I felt invisible. I listened in silence, her excuses blending into the distant hum of the ocean. Every word was a stab wrapped in pity. When she said, I still love you, something in me finally went still. I turned to her, my voice low, almost gentle. You say you felt invisible, Liana. But tell me, how do you think I feel now? Watching you and my brother turn my dream into your sin? She broke down, sobbing uncontrollably, reaching for my hand. I took a step back. Don't, I whispered. You've touched enough of my life already. She fell to her knees, whispering apologies that meant nothing anymore. I opened the door and looked at her one last time. You chose this, I said. Now live with it. Then I walked out, leaving her tears behind the soundproof glass. The morning after felt strangely peaceful. The storm had passed, but its silence was heavier than thunder. I walked along the shoreline, the sand cool beneath my feet, the waves erasing every footprint as if trying to cleanse what had happened the night before. From a distance, I could see Liana sitting alone near the water, her hair tangled by the wind, her dress stained with tears. She looked smaller, somehow like a shadow of the woman I once knew. Evan was gone. The front desk told me he'd checked out before sunrise without saying a word. Cowardice looks quiet when it leaves. My family had already decided to cut their trip short. The laughter that had filled the air just hours ago was now replaced by awkward silence and whispers that would travel far beyond this beach. As I watched the waves crash and retreat, I felt no pride, no thrill, just release. People think revenge feels sweet. It doesn't. It feels heavy, necessary, and painfully real. What I did wasn't about destroying them, it was about reclaiming the part of me they tried to break. I looked toward Liana one last time. She didn't look up. Maybe she couldn't. Maybe she finally saw herself for who she'd become. I turned away the wind at my back, whispering the same truth I'd carried all along. You can hide from guilt for a while, but never from karma. It always finds its way home. Months passed, and life moved on, at least for me. I poured myself into work, planned trips for strangers who still believed in love, and rebuilt the quiet parts of my life piece by piece. But karma? It was still writing its part of the story. I didn't chase it. I didn't have to. It found them on its own. Evan's business started crumbling within weeks. Word spread about his unprofessional behavior, and partners pulled out one after another. The man who once bragged about being unstoppable was suddenly drowning in debts and silence. As for Liana, she tried reaching out T-mails, messages, even handwritten letters. I never responded. The last one she sent had just 5 words. You were right about karma. I saw her once more by accident, months later in a crowded cafe. She looked tired, older, drained. When our eyes met, she froze, as if seeing a ghost. I just nodded politely and walked past. There was no hate left in me, only peace. Sometimes the best revenge is living untouched by what broke you. That night I finally posted a new article on my travel blog. The title read, "The Family Reunion They'll Never Forget." It wasn't cruel, it was poetic. It wasn't about revenge. It was about closure. And as thousands read it, I realized something powerful. You don't have to destroy people to let them fall. All you need to do is stand still and let karma finish the journey for you.